music or the smell of good cooking may make people stop and enjoy. But words that point to the Tao seem monotonous and without flavor. When you look for it, there is nothing to see. When you listen for it, there is nothing to hear. When you use it, it is inexhaustible. 36. If you want to shrink something, you must first allow it to expand. If you want to get rid of something, you must first allow it to flourish. If you want to take something, you must first allow it to be given. This is called the subtle perception of the way things are. The soft overcomes the hard. The slow overcomes the fast. Let your workings remain a mystery. This is called the subtle perception of the way things are. The soft overcomes the hard. The slow overcomes the fast. Let your workings remain a mystery. Just show people the results. 37. The Tao never does anything, yet through it all things are done. If powerful men and women could center themselves in it, the whole world would be transformed by itself in its natural rhythms. People would be content with their simple, everyday lives, in harmony and free of desire. When there is no desire, all things are at peace. 38. The master doesn't try to be powerful. Thus, he is truly powerful. The ordinary man keeps reaching for power. Thus, he never has enough. The master does nothing, yet he leaves nothing undone. The ordinary man is always doing things, yet many more are left to be done. The kind man does something, yet something remains undone. The just man does something, and leaves many things to be done. The moral man does something, and when no one responds, he rolls up his sleeves and uses force. When the Tao is lost, there is goodness. When goodness is lost, there is morality. When morality is lost, there is ritual. Ritual is the husk of true faith, the beginning of chaos. Therefore, the master concerns himself with the depths and not the surface, with the fruit and not the flower. He has no will of his own. He dwells in reality and lets all illusions go. 39. In harmony with the Tao, the sky is clear and spacious. The earth is solid and full. All creatures flourish together, content with the way they are, endlessly repeating themselves, endlessly renewed. When man interferes with the Tao, the sky becomes filthy, the earth becomes depleted, equilibrium crumbles, creatures become extinct. The master views the parts with compassion because he understands the whole. His constant practice is humility. He doesn't glitter like a jewel, but lets himself be shaped by the Tao, as rugged and common as a stone. 40. Return is the movement of the Tao. Yielding is the way of the Tao. All things are born of being. Being is born of non-being. 41. When a superior man hears of the Tao, he immediately begins to embody it. When an average man hears of the Tao, he half believes it, half doubts it. When a foolish man hears of the Tao, he laughs out loud. If he didn't laugh, it wouldn't be the Tao. Thus it is said, the path into the light seems dark. The path forward seems to go back. The direct path seems long. True power seems weak. 40. True purity seems tarnished is the movement. True steadfastness seems changeable. True clarity seems obscure. The greatest art seems unsophisticated. The greatest love seems indifferent. The greatest wisdom seems childish. The Tao is nowhere to be found, yet it nourishes and completes all things. 42. The Tao gives birth to one. One gives birth to two. Two gives birth to three. Three gives birth to all things. All things have their backs to the female and stand facing the male. When male and female combine, all things achieve harmony. Ordinary men hate solitude, but the master makes use of it, embracing his aloneness, realizing he is one with the whole universe. 43. The gentlest thing in the world overcomes the hardest thing in the world. That which has no substance enters where there is no space. This shows the value of non-action. Teaching without words, performing without actions. That is the master's way. 44. Fame or integrity, which is more important? Money or happiness, which is more valuable? Success or failure, which is more destructive? If you look to others for fulfillment, you will never truly be fulfilled. If your happiness depends on money, you will never be happy with yourself. Be content with what you have. Rejoice in the way things are. When you realize there is nothing lacking, the whole world belongs to you. 45. True perfection seems imperfect, yet it is perfectly itself. True fullness seems empty, yet it is fully present. True straightness seems crooked. True wisdom seems foolish. True art seems artless. The master allows things to happen. She shapes events as they come. She steps out of the way and lets the Tao speak for itself. 46. When a country is in harmony with the Tao, the factories make trucks and tractors. When a country goes counter to the Tao, warheads are stockpiled outside the cities. There is no greater illusion than fear, no greater wrong than preparing to defend yourself, no greater misfortune than having an enemy. Whoever can see through all fear will always be safe. 47. Without opening your door, you can open your heart to the world. Without looking out your window, you can see the essence of the Tao. The more you know, the less you understand. The master arrives without leaving, sees the light without looking, achieves without doing a thing. 48. In the pursuit of knowledge, every day something is added. In the practice of the Tao, every day something is dropped. Less and less do you need to force things, until finally you arrive at non-action. When nothing is done, nothing is left undone. True mastery can be gained by letting things go their own way. It can't be gained by interfering. 49. The master has no mind of her own. She works with the mind of the people. She is good to people who are good. She's also good to people who aren't good. This is true goodness. She trusts people who are trustworthy. She also trusts people who aren't trustworthy. This is true trust. The master's mind is like space. People don't understand her. They look to her and wait. She treats them like her own children. 50. The master gives himself up to whatever the moment brings. He knows that he is going to die, and he has nothing left to hold on to. No illusions in his mind. No resistances in his body. He doesn't think about his actions. They flow from the core of his being. He holds nothing back from life. Therefore, he is ready for death, as a man is ready for sleep after a good day's work. 51. Every being in the universe is an expression of the Tao. It springs into existence, unconscious, perfect, free, takes on a physical body, lets circumstances complete it. That is why every being spontaneously honors the Tao. The Tao gives birth to all beings, nourishes them, maintains them, cares for them, comforts them, protects them, takes them back to itself, creating without possessing, acting without expecting, guiding without interfering. That is why love of the Tao is in the very nature of things. 52. In the beginning was the Tao. All things issue from it. All things return to it. To find the origin, trace back the manifestations. When you recognize the children and find the mother, you will be free of sorrow. If you close your mind in judgments and traffic with desires, your heart will be troubled. If you keep your mind from judging and aren't led by the senses, your heart will find peace. Seeing into darkness is clarity. Knowing how to yield is strength. Use your own light and return to the source of light. This is called practicing eternity. 53. The great way is easy, yet people prefer the side paths. Be aware when things are out of balance. Stay centered within the Tao. When rich speculators prosper, while farmers lose their land. When government officials spend money on weapons instead of cures. When the upper class is extravagant and irresponsible, while the poor have nowhere to turn. All this is robbery and chaos. It is not in keeping with the Tao. 54. Whoever is planted in the Tao will not be rooted up. Whoever embraces the Tao will not slip away. Her name will be held in honor from generation to generation. Let the Tao be present in your life, and you will become genuine. Let it be present in your family, and your family will flourish. Let it be present in your country, and your country will be an example to all countries in the world. Let it be present in the universe, and the universe will sing. How do I know this is true? By looking inside myself. 55. He who is in harmony with the Tao is like a newborn child. Its bones are soft, its muscles are weak, but its grip is powerful. It doesn't know about the union of male and female, yet its penis can stand erect. So intense is its vital power. It can can scream its head off all day, yet it never becomes hoarse. So complete is its harmony. The master's power is like this. He lets all things come and go, effortlessly, without desire. He never expects results. Thus he is never disappointed. He is never disappointed. Thus, his spirit never grows old. 56. Those who know don't talk. Those who talk don't know. Close your mouth. Block off your senses. Blunt your sharpness. Untie your knots. Soften your glare. Settle your dust. This is the primal identity. Be like the Tao. It can't be approached or withdrawn from, benefited or harmed, honored or brought into disgrace. It gives itself up continually. That is why it endures. 57. If you want to be a great leader, you must learn to follow the Tao. Stop trying to control. Let go of fixed plans and concepts, and the world will govern itself. The more prohibitions you have, the less virtuous people will be. The more weapons you have, the less secure people will be. The more subsidies you have, the less self-reliant people will be. Therefore, the Master says, I let go of the law, and people become honest. I let go of economics, and people become prosperous. I let go of religion, and people become serene. I let go of all desire for the common good, and the good becomes common as grass. 58. If a country is governed with tolerance, the people are comfortable and honest. If a country is governed with repression, the people are depressed and crafty. When the will to power is in charge, the higher the ideals, the lower the results. Try to make people happy, and you lay the groundwork for misery. Try to make people moral, and you lay the groundwork for vice. Thus the Master is content to serve as an example, and not to impose her will. She is pointed, but doesn't pierce. Straightforward, but supple. Radiant, but easy on the eyes. 59. For governing a country well, there is nothing better than moderation. The mark of a moderate man is freedom from his own ideas. Tolerant like the sky, all-pervading like sunlight, firm like a mountain, supple like a tree in the wind. He has no destination in view, and makes use of anything life happens to bring his way. Nothing is impossible for him. Because he has let go, he can care for the people's welfare, as a mother cares for her child. 60. Governing a large country is like frying a small fish. You spoil it with too much poking. Center your country in the Tao, and evil will have no power. Not that it isn't there, but you'll be able to step out of its way. Give evil nothing to oppose, and it will disappear by itself. 61. When a country obtains great power, it becomes like the sea. All streams run downward into it. The more powerful it grows, the greater the need for humility. Humility means trusting the Tao, thus never needing to be defensive. A great nation is like a great man. When he makes a mistake, he realizes it. Having realized it, he admits it. Having admitted it, he corrects it. He considers those who point out his faults as his most benevolent teachers. He thinks of his enemy as the shadow that he himself casts. If a nation is centered in the Tao, if it nourishes its own people and doesn't meddle in the affairs of others, it will be a light to all nations in the world. 62. The Tao is the center of the universe, the good man's treasure, the bad man's refuge. Honors can be bought with fine words. Respect can be won with good deeds. But the Tao is beyond all value, and no one can achieve it. Thus, when a new leader is chosen, don't offer to help him with your wealth or your expertise. Offer instead to teach him about the Tao. Why did the ancient masters esteem the Tao? Because, being one with the Tao, when you seek, you find. And when you make a mistake, you are forgiven. That is why everybody loves it. 63. Act without doing. Work without effort. Think of the small as large, and the few as many. Confront the difficult while it is still easy. Accomplish the great task by a series of small acts. The master never reaches for the great. Thus she achieves greatness. When she runs into a difficulty, she stops and gives herself to it. She doesn't cling to her own comfort. Thus, problems are no problem for her. 64. What is rooted is easy to nourish. What is recent is easy to correct. What is brittle is easy to break. What is small is easy to scatter. Prevent trouble before it arises. Put things in order before they exist. The giant pine tree grows from a tiny sprout. The journey of 1,000 miles starts from 20 feet. Rushing into action, you fail. Trying to grasp things, you lose them. Forcing a project to completion, you ruin what was almost ripe. Therefore, the master takes action by letting things take their course. He remains as calm at the end as at the beginning. He has nothing, thus has nothing to lose. What he desires is non-desire. What he learns is to unlearn. He simply reminds people of who they have always been. He cares about nothing but the Tao. Thus, he can care for all things. 65. The ancient masters didn't try to educate the people, but kindly taught them to not know. When they think that they know the answers, people are difficult to guide. When they know that they don't know, people can find their own way. If you want to learn how to govern, avoid being clever or rich. The simplest pattern is the clearest. Content with an ordinary life, you can show all people the way back to their own true nature. 66. All streams flow to the sea because it is lower than they are. Humility gives it its power. If you want to govern the people, you must place yourself below them. If you want to lead the people, you must learn how to follow them. The master is above the people, and no one feels oppressed. She goes ahead of the people, and no one feels manipulated. The whole world is grateful to her. Because she competes with no one, no one can compete with her. 67. Some say that my teaching is nonsense. Others call it lofty. but impractical. But to those who have looked inside themselves, this nonsense makes perfect sense. And to those who put it into practice, this loftiness has roots that go deep. I have just 3 things to teach: simplicity, patience, compassion. These 3 are your greatest treasures. Simple in actions and in thoughts, you return to the source of being. Patient with both friends and enemies, you accord with the way things are. Compassionate toward yourself, you reconcile all beings in the world. 68. The best athlete wants his opponent at his best. The best general enters the mind of his enemy. The best businessman serves the communal good. The best leader follows the will of the people. All of them embody the virtue of non-competition. Not that they don't love to compete, but they do it in the spirit of play. In this, they are like children, and in harmony with the Tao. 69. The generals have a saying: rather than make the first move, it is better to wait and see. Rather than advance an inch, it is better to retreat a yard. This is called going forward without advancing, pushing back without using weapons. There's no greater misfortune than underestimating your enemy. Underestimating your enemy means thinking that he is evil. Thus, you destroy your 3 treasures and become an enemy yourself. When 2 great forces oppose each other, the victory will go to the one that knows how to yield. 70. My teachings are easy to understand and easy to put into practice. Yet your intellect will never grasp them, and if you try to practice them, you'll fail. My teachings are older than the world. How can you grasp their meaning? If you want to know me, look inside your heart. 71. Not knowing is true knowledge. Presuming to know is a disease. First realize that you are sick, then you can move toward health. The master is her own physician. She has healed herself of all knowing. Thus, she is truly whole. 72. When they lose their sense of awe, people turn to religion. When they no longer trust themselves, they begin to depend upon authority. Therefore, the master steps back so that people won't be confused. He teaches without a teaching, so that people will have nothing to learn. 73. The Tao is always at ease. It overcomes without competing, answers without speaking a word, arrives without being summoned, accomplishes without a plan. Its net covers the whole universe, and though its meshes are wide, it doesn't let a thing slip through. 74. If you realize that all things change, there is nothing you will try to hold on to. If you aren't afraid of dying, there's nothing you can't achieve. Trying to control the future is like trying to take the master carpenter's place. When you handle the master carpenter's tools, chances are that you'll cut your hand. 75. When taxes are too high, people go hungry. When the government is too intrusive, people lose their spirit. Act for the people's benefit. Trust them. Leave them alone. soft and supple. Dead, they are stiff and hard. Plants are born tender and pliant. Dead, they are brittle and dry. Thus, whoever is stiff and inflexible is a disciple of death. Whoever is soft and yielding is a disciple of life. The hard and stiff will be broken. The soft and supple will prevail. 77. As it acts in the world, the Tao is like the bending of a bow. The top is bent downward. The bottom is bent up. It adjusts excess and deficiency so that there is perfect balance. It takes from what is too much and gives to what isn't enough. Those who try to control, who use force to protect their power, go against the direction of the Tao. They take from those who don't have enough and give to those who have far too much. The master can keep giving because there is no end to her wealth. She acts without expectation, succeeds without taking credit, and doesn't think that she is better than anyone else. 78. Nothing in the world is as soft and yielding as water. Yet for dissolving the hard and inflexible, nothing can surpass it. The soft overcomes the hard. The gentle overcomes the rigid. Everyone knows this is true, but few can put it into practice. Therefore, the master remains serene in the midst of sorrow. Evil cannot enter his heart. Because he has given up helping, he is people's greatest help. True words seem paradoxical. 79. Failure is an opportunity. If you blame someone else, there is no end to the blame. Therefore, the master fulfills her own obligations and corrects her own mistakes. She does what she needs to do and demands nothing of others. 80. If a country is governed wisely, its inhabitants inventing labor-saving machines. Since they dearly love their homes, they aren't interested in travel. There may be a few wagons and boats, but these don't go anywhere. There may be an arsenal of weapons, but nobody ever uses them. People enjoy their food, take pleasure in being with their families, spend weekends working in their gardens, delight in the doings of the neighborhood. And even though the next country is so close that people can hear its roosters crowing and its dogs barking, they are content to die of old age without ever having gone to see it. 81. True words aren't eloquent. Eloquent words aren't true. Wise men don't need to prove their point. Men who need to prove their point aren't wise. The master has no possessions. The more he does for others, the happier he is. The more he gives to others, the wealthier he is. The Tao nourishes by not forcing. By not dominating, the master leads. It settles and the water is clear. Can you remain unmoving till the right action arises by itself? The master doesn't seek fulfillment. Not seeking, not expecting. She is present and can welcome all things. 16. Empty your mind of all thoughts. Let your heart be at peace. Watch the turmoil of beings, but contemplate their return. Each separate being in the universe returns to the common source. Returning to the source is serenity. If you don't realize the source, you stumble in confusion and sorrow. When you realize where you come from, you naturally become tolerant, disinterested, amused, kind-hearted as a grandmother, dignified as a king. Immersed in the wonder of the Tao, you can deal with whatever life brings you. And when death comes, you are ready. 17. When the master governs, the people are hardly aware that he exists. Next best is a leader who is loved. Next, one who is feared. The worst is one who is despised. If you don't trust the people, you make them untrustworthy. The master doesn't talk, he acts. When his work is done, the people say, "Amazing, we did it, all by ourselves." 18. When the great Tao is forgotten, goodness and piety appear. When the body's intelligence declines, cleverness and knowledge step forth. When there is no peace in the family, filial piety begins. When the country falls into chaos, patriotism is born. 19. Throw away holiness and wisdom, and people will be 100 times happier. Throw away morality and justice, and people will do the right thing. Throw away industry and profit, and there won't be any thieves. If these three aren't enough, just stay at the center of the circle, and let all things take their course. 20. Stop thinking and end your problems. What difference between yes and no? What difference between success and failure? Must you value what others value, avoid what others avoid? How ridiculous. Other people are excited, as though they were at a parade. I alone don't care. I alone am expressionless, like an infant before it can smile. Other people have what they need. I alone possess nothing. I alone drift about, like someone without a home. I am like an idiot, my mind is so empty. Other people are bright. I alone am dark. Other people are sharp. I alone am dull. Other people have a purpose. I alone don't know. I drift like a wave on the ocean. I blow as aimless as the wind. I am different from ordinary people. I drink from the great mother's breasts. 21. The master keeps her mind always at one with the Tao. That is what gives her radiance. The Tao is ungraspable. How can her mind be at one with it? Because she doesn't cling to ideas. The Tao is dark and unfathomable.
I was just making fun of the fact that you called somebody else a dictator when you have a pretend king walking around your own country just firing half the government. America has a dictator.
Do you know what the executive branch is and what that entails?
Pretty sure Zelensky doesn't go around calling himself a king, right?
Tom, what do you think about helping
Nice argument, Joe.
helping Israel? Maybe he can make the point better than me, Joe. Don't you agree that we need to defund, whether we need to defund Ukraine, we need to defund Israel?
We're doing that. Absolutely. Let's be fair. If Ukraine has to pay back, then so should Israel. If Ukraine has to pay back, then so should Israel.
Well, Israel pays back in other ways, as I explained to you earlier. Apparently, there's no point in responding to you because you don't listen when I do.
Well, it's hard when you're cutting me off, Norm.
Oh, well, it's not that hard to listen. In other words, when you're cut off, you can't hear. maybe you should listen more and talk less.
Seems like everyone shared the same experience with you moderating, Mr. Good.
Not everyone, only assholes, Puria. Feel free to include yourself under that rubric.
You barely let him finish there, and you cut him off.
Okay, so hold on.
You know what? I'll give Mitchell a
hold on.
the big V for victory.
Okay, guys, we're not gonna do that. Remember? So Joe, you got the room. You have a minute.
I just got here. I don't know what you guys want me to talk about. I just think it's absurd that you guys think that Ukraine should pay back their, like the money they received from America, and you think that they should have their funding cut. But for some reason, the other Jewish leader, you think that they should keep receiving funding, and you don't think they should pay it back. I'm just saying, let's be consistent. I think Israel should receive the funding, but
Then I understand why Norm was probably interrupting you, because it seems like you're ignorant and you don't understand.
He's Canadian. He's mad about Trump for like fucking up his.
He's an idiot. I'm in Canada. You should be proud. You have nothing to lose if we become the 51st state, unless you're a liberal.
What am I wrong about?
You just
Please clarify where I'm wrong.
Obviously, you probably like boys and girls bathrooms. That's probably the problem right there. We'll have the strongest fucking state in the United States if we become part of the state because of our natural resources, minerals, and what we can provide. Also with land mass, there's nothing to lose. Our money would be at par. It's only to gain. But that's another topic. We're not going to talk about Canada politics. But do you understand how Israel gives back to the United States? What does fucking Ukraine give back to the United States?
Well, they're about to give us their natural resources.
Shut the fuck up. I'm not talking to you, Al. I'm talking to Charles.
Sure, so, Ukraine does trade with the United States. Maybe it's a lesser amount than Israel, but Ukraine is also what keeps Russia out of Europe, and Europe trades with the United States. It's not about protecting Ukraine. It's about protecting Europe and democracy in the world. It's about preventing the world from being taken over by oligarchs.
No problem.
I interrupted again. I was so close to done. I think I had enough whining. No, but I'm done, I guess. I have.
There you go. I didn't interrupt, so we agree. Ukraine, we support Ukraine. There's no difference in our support for Ukraine, except Trump asked for the same deal that Ukraine offered Europe, which was to pay back the money that it was giving going forward. Which
Ukraine is not paying back the money, Al. I already shared a source with you earlier this morning debunking that claim.
Well, we'll have to look
65% are grants. 65% of the money provided by the European Union are grants. The other 35% are loans. I forget the word, but they're loans.
They're loans. They're not forgiven.
No, well, there's a word in front of that, which I'm forgetting, but it's a loan that can be pardoned. That most likely won't be paid back.
No, it's going to be paid back by the frozen It's going to be paid back by the frozen Russian assets. That was the agreement. You're a fucking idiot. You think this economy...
Hold on. Are you talking about the frozen Russian assets in Canada?
No.
So do you guys know what Trudeau said, that he's giving $5 billion from frozen Russian assets that are in Canada, when Canada's only froze $140 million, but he's going to give $5 billion.
Canada is the second largest. This is the second country with the most Ukrainians on Earth.
Who gives a fuck?
I think Canada's going to support Ukraine.
Why? Because we've taken the refugees?
3 million
So they'll vote for the idiot Trudeau? Like, I'm just curious why.
Because we want to prevent a dictator oligarch from taking over the world.
Who's the dictator?
What is that? I'm honestly shocked. We live in a world where Americans are arguing against the idea that we need a dictator. I mean, guys, come on. I don't even
as much as a dictator. He was voted for him by a millionaire. Unlike Zelensky was elected on a fair election, but Trump's election was bought for him by a billionaire. So I think Zelensky is a more legitimate leader, and according to the polls, he's more popular than Trump.
Wait, Putin has an 85% popularity rating, by the way. And this is according to non-Russian.
Russia never had a
this is a non-government body that says this, by the way. Non-Russian, pro-Russian.
There's no non-government body in Russia.
There is retard. There's organizations that are affiliated with the government that take.
No, they're all linked to government.
Oh yeah, they're all linked to the government.
They say anything against Putin, they will be thrown out of the window. That would be thrown out of the window.
Okay, so you reject it on the basis that you just disagree with the statistics, like the fact of the matter, or the empirical.
It's not they are made up facts. They are your made up facts.
How they're made up?
Zelensky is more popular than Trump. Zelensky was more democratically elected than Trump. His election was not bought by a billionaire unlike Trump. Trump's election was bought by a billionaire. Elon Musk spent $1 million a day. Elon Musk basically bought it was like elections in South Lebanon. He started throwing money at people.
No, you're crazy. You think that Trump bought his election?
Yeah, he's
Elon
Musk bought it.
Yeah, if you can't buy an election to you with a lot of
If he spread $1 million a day or not, if he spread
now you're going on him. Now, Sano, now you're going on him.
Elon Musk spent $1 million or not.
Sano, let me say for a second. First of all, I
It
think
was not a donation. It was just giving money to people to support Trump.
Sano, first of all, I think the Democrats actually.
Unmute, Sano. Sorry.
The Democrats spent more in trying to fight Trump than Trump spent in responding. I don't think the idea that you can buy an election in the United States is true. It's absolutely true that Elon Musk donated a lot of money, but you can't buy an election. And Hillary Clinton and Kamala, I think.
Yeah, Kamala spent billions.
Yeah, and by the way, she wasted it. Now, on the subject of supporting Ukraine, the United States, I think, is unambiguous in its support of Ukraine. All Trump is doing, and I think it makes Europe stronger, actually, is encouraging Europe to stand up and contribute as much as it can and to defend itself as much as it can. That makes Europe a strong ally, and it provides additional defense against Russia, and it prevents that sort of U.S. is the ATM of the world sort of mentality that Zelensky seems to have come here with. So rather than just saying democracy, democracy, and letting people throw money at him, Trump is trying to make a deal. And I think it's a reasonable deal. And I think Zelensky, who campaigned for Kamala in Pennsylvania with Josh Shapiro, was taken aback a little bit. Trump also punishes disloyalty, and he's had to modify his stance on this. And he's sending
But check this out though. Maybe you're one of those men that have a profession that allows you all this extra time to do all the things that, PTA meetings, you go pick them up, take them to school, you do all that, The majority of men, if they were to try to do all those things, they're not going to make enough money to where they could even attract a woman to begin with. You have to work hard as a man, right? You got to work hard as a man. Sometimes if you got a lofty goal, you might need to work 2 jobs because you making money and being able to provide is very important to women. No matter how you look at it, it's very important to women. And even though you're going to find a bunch of women that's going to come in there and tell you like, oh, they're going to take you how you is, and nah, bro, you got to have a decent job to be able to at least cover them somehow, right? And because of that, that makes it to where your focus is going to be on working and not on doing PTA meetings and all that. Yeah, you could do it once in a while, but majority of the time, it's going to be the woman that's going to go do the PTA meetings. And if the woman is the one in the position of a breadwinner, and you the one that got to go to the PTA meeting, it's only a matter of time before she fall out of love with you and find you unattractive. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Why would I care? Why would I care? If I'm a man of confidence and I'm in control of my life, why would I care what one woman thinks when there's 10 waiting? Why would I care?
Because y'all not caring.
Next one up. Bro, you gotta be in control. So here's what I'm gonna say. And maybe we don't know that, so I'm gonna go back, for those. Wealth in this country is determined by residual income. That's how wealth is determined. So just because you have time doesn't mean you don't have money. It's just you make your money residually. And what that means is sleep equity over sweat equity. I don't know. I think a lot of black people think, oh, oh, I got to sweat to get this money. No, you don't. Why don't you figure out a way to sleep and still make the same amount of money? But, go.
Let me tell you something. I went to a Dwayne Reed today, and every time I'm just going there for some water, smart water. But every time I go there is a line out the door for the pharmacy. So at some point in time, the person, you can try to time it. You could try to go early. You could try to go late. I seen people try to go as soon as they open. It don't matter. They are intent on giving bad customer service. They don't staff appropriately, blah, blah, blah. The management is very clear. We don't give a fuck about y'all as customers. At some point, you can only just go to a different store. You can't keep trying different things. You can't see, oh, well, I just got to wake up earlier. Oh, well, I just got to try a different time. Or I got to do this. I got to do that. At some point, it's just not going to work. You have to go to a different store. And unfortunately, when it comes to the Black community, that's what I firmly believe. You could be confident. You could be on point. You could read today a work from home job that pay $500K and a clean criminal record. If you in the wrong jurisdiction that is anti-male, anti-father, or you in an environment where women don't respect men, there is nothing you can do individually to change that shit. The only thing you can do is lead.
So I changed it. Oh, go ahead, Isaac. You want to go ahead, jump in there?
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we hear you just fine.
All right. Why is the Black community struggling with who's in charge? Funny y'all heard me say it, because there is no more Black community. That has been gone for quite a while. Biggest example, there is no Black community. Why are Black kids murdered at the highest rate, despite being the lowest amount of the population in terms of just a gross estimate? Yes, there are more Black kids than Asian American kids and Native American kids. But you want to know who has an equal to a slightly bit above rated children? Latin Americans. Latin American kids actually die at a way less percent despite the domestic violence.
What's up, Ross, Seed, Quinn? Welcome to the stage. Y'all want to jump in on the topic of why is the Black community struggling with who's in charge?
Because we are our biggest haters. We hate ourselves. That's why we don't like each other. There's one of the reasons why.
So you basically saying we can't find leadership in our community because we don't like each other?
We know that's hell yeah. Because guess what? Let me tell you something. Outside of the white people, we cannot be deported back to our home country. So how do they ruin us? They ruin us by infiltrating our self-worth, by making us think we're the lowest of the low on a sexual level, financial level, emotional level, physical level. They hate on all of us. So what do some insecure coons do? They want to fit the white standard, hence why they hate the other Black people. Am I lying? No.
I don't think we go to. I don't think we on the same page.
I want to respond to that by saying this. Somehow, some way, we hate ourselves and we hate each other, right? But we keep having babies. Like apparently we love ourselves enough to have a whole bunch of fucking children. Right?
So this is what, let me respond to you too. Let me respond to your stupid ass argument too. I'm not talking about individual people. I'm talking about on a society level. Because one thing is true, that as I said again, outside of the white people, we're the only ones that cannot be sent back to the country, cannot be deported. So hence the controllers, what do? They put us down. I'm not talking about individual people. I'm talking about systematically. So don't come to me with arguments about people, because we know damn well that put down low. Financially, they talk about us being the most poorest. Physically, they talk about we are not the most wanted. What? Say it again.
All right, can I finish responding to that? Hold on real quick, Pernell. I think Provoking was trying to answer the topic. He hasn't got to speak yet.
I appreciate it, King. I just want clarity. When you say, well, who's in charge? Are you talking about Trump, or are you talking about the black ones?
Men and women, just in our community. Like, you know, it definitely seems like within our black community that we're struggling with. Are the men in charge or the women in charge? And, like, you know, by and large, our homes are primarily, you know, ran by women. So, it's just talking about us, bro.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think it's obvious. I mean, I was just telling my brother, over the past 30-something years, women have been in charge, and that's a very unfortunate thing. We're dissatisfied with the outcome, but we are continually allowing women to run the community and rule the community. As soon as women must first take accountability. That's number one. When we have these talking points, we shouldn't be gaslighted. We shouldn't be getting fucked with mentally. Right? Hear the discrepancies and deal with them at hand. I think it's because they're lacking accountability with each other too as well. Women don't hold others accountable. There are other women accountable. And when they start to do that, I think we can evolve as a community again.
Can I respond to this anyone? Oh, you want to respond, JB?
Yeah, I had a question to that. So, realistically, do you ever think in a million years women will ever reach the point of taking accountability?
That's a good question, Jay. That's just me wishful thinking, brother.
Wait. JB, they got to, because why is it that we see in other communities, including other black diaspora communities, at some point, the mama says, listen, this is enough fuckery. We got to get this shit together. You're not going to sully the family name with this baby mama behaviors and this strong independent bullshit and this antichrist, whole philosophies. You got to get this shit together. The only way this community is going to survive, it don't matter how much we man up. Because again, I was in a room earlier and this woman was saying literally, oh, y'all going to have to convince me to be a good woman. That at some point in the natural world, guess what happened to that woman? She starved to death and died. She got left in the Sahara Desert. And if it's only 5 black women out of 100 in America that's going to come follow us, that's going to be the only ones who's going to survive.
Survive how? What does that mean? The only ones who survive?
Genetically.
Nigga, baby moms are always going to be prevalent. So
you see how she say the N-word to you?
Can I say something? Because I have a different point of view on this shit. And let me tell you something. You guys, we need to understand one thing. The liberals in the house. You have the men, the woman, and the children. Who takes the lead is a man. So when a woman does not fulfill her needs, who is the responsible one? It is the man. The same way you'll be pointing fingers at a woman, at a mother for their child being weird, the same way when you go to a house that's broken, you look at the one who is in the lead, the responsible, which is a man. It doesn't work where a woman has to behave and then a man will behave. That makes the woman the leader, not the man. So first, when we speak about mothers, why are these mothers like this? Why? Because
there ain't no action. That is
a baby father. We are, hold on. Let me speak, because I'll let you finish as well. I have respect for me too. The vibe I'm getting from these men in the room, these are the most dangerous men. These are what you call the emotional men. The emotional man will not take accountability. They will point the fingers at other people. Because how is it so as a man, as a leader, you're pointing your fingers at a woman?
Quinn, I'm being serious when I get these. I even talk about my sister. She not listening. She hard headed. She not listening to my father. She not listening to me. She not listening to her aunties. There's a lot, and again, this is in America, in urban America, that these black women are not listening to nobody. So at what point? I don't have any legal options to basically enforce these standards. We're not in Africa. I wish we was sometimes, because then I could enforce the tribal rule. And to the point of what I was saying earlier, if the woman don't listen, she not getting no food. But unfortunately, in America, she could go to say, fuck
where
y'all
in Africa
niggas.
have you been?
Wait.
Money. They get money here for their bad decisions.
Exactly. They'll say,
That's
fuck.
not true. I've
Listen.
been to Africa before.
Wait.
You
See,
telling them about the Decorum and you lose.
you're not trying to hear it. See, in America, they could go straight down to the white daddy welfare office, tell that white woman, hey, I'm not trying to listen to no black man today, so you need to give me some cash, because these kids is hungry. That's what, and you telling us.
Most black women not on government assistance, though. We just don't need you niggas. It's up.
It's not
Trump gonna cut that off soon. Trump gonna cut that off soon.
I don't agree with that too. We need each other, but let's not lie. Nerd, you have a white woman on your profile picture. You want to tell me about Africa? I know Africa very good, and Africa has house rules. They have a man. A man goes outside.
How do you know Africa so
Hold
well?
on, let me finish. In Africa, a man will go outside on the hunts. He will fight for his village. Don't tell me about no man in America that will stay at home and be on TikTok and come out talking all day about women. That's not a man. So let's not compare Africans to African Americans, because that's a whole different dynamic and surrounding.
Africa so well?
I'm
I've been to Africa, cause I got money, nigga.
I'm African and she's.
Let me finish, please, because how am I saying as a woman? Let me finish to emotional me. Let me tell y'all something. Don't be mad at me. Be mad at yourself, because I'm literally the one that's putting the mirror in front of you niggas. Listen. At the end of the day, you need to understand it's simple. The one that is responsible is the one to blame. The mother that is not being a good mother is because of a bad father. It has roots. Obviously, they play different parts as well. We need each other. I'm not saying we don't need y'all. We need each other. But let's go back to the core role. A man that's not... Hold on, let me finish. At one point, now you can talk. A man that says, because when a woman does not listen, I need to cut her food and I need to tell her to shut the fuck up. I'm sorry, but a man is a man that knows how to deal with his emotion. As I said, emotional man is what is given in this room. Second of all, he knows how to talk and communicate in a proper way and a leader manner. Don't ever come to me and treat a woman like a dog. Because guess what? If you treat a woman like a dog, you're a dog yourself. Thank you.
I'm gonna teach you as good as they
So hold on. If my father's so bad, why? Wait. If my father's so bad, how come I'm making six figures? Like the inconsistencies
this is
is
a
wild.
black man's talk. He's talking about.
So
What do y'all under y'all
criminals that are rich?
JB, to answer your question, I'm African, and in 2025, most African men aren't going out to hunt. I've lived in Africa for 6 years. Most African men are not going out to hunt. In fact, majority of African men live in poverty. So, coming to America, I see that the men here make significantly more money than the men in Africa or the men in the Middle East on average, and they still get respect from their women. One thing that I always wondered, coming back real quick, no, I'm not done. Real quick, one thing I always wondered, especially in America, is why do women sleep with men that they wouldn't make a sandwich for? Why would women sleep with men that they have no respect for? That question has never been answered to me by women in this country. Real quick, I'm almost done. Because if we're here talking about women's bodies and women's choices, how precious women's bodies are, it wouldn't make sense to give your body to a man that you have no respect for, that has no plan, that's no good, that's a felon, that's a deadbeat. But from what I've seen in this country, since I moved to this country, the bottom barrel men seem to be getting the women. because I agree with women. There are men who ain't shit. 100% agree. There are men who ain't shit. There are men who won't be shit. But then what I've seen is those men don't need to change because they're still getting access to women. Right? So when we seen the struggling who's in charge, I agree with women. There's a lot of men who, when I listen to their plans as a man, I'm like, I can never let my daughter date or my son or my sister date and marry this man. But then those men don't lack women. If you go to Africa and you a felon, you're not getting a woman. If you go to Africa and you don't got a plan, you're not getting a woman. If you go to Africa, you're not financially stable, you're not getting a wife. But in this country, you could get as long as you're good looking, right? It don't matter if you don't have if you're not financially stable, if you in and out of jail. Matter of fact, it don't matter if you beat women or abuse children. Because what I saw with Charles Manson, this man committed one of the worst crimes known to man, killing an 8-month-old Sharon Tate. And 8-month pregnant Sharon Tate, and then scribbling her blood on the wall. She got tens of thousands of love letters from American women until he died. So you could be the worst man in the community. It's still a woman. It's still a woman. Don't differentiate now. Don't differentiate now. Because don't differentiate now. I'm almost done, and then you can respond. I'm still white women are still women, and y'all follow their feminist movement and ruin the community. At the end of the day, you could be the worst men in the community in this country and still get access to women. So I'm listening to women complain, but I'm also seeing that the men that they're complaining about have women. So something is missing. Something don't make sense here.
The reality is the same reason why those women are giving men, but it's the same reason why y'all fuck women you don't want to be with. It's really that simple, because they want to. I mean, it's really that simple. People do shit now. Do I think it's a good plan? No, I don't. It's not a good plan of action. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. People do what the fuck they want to do. Now, when it comes to the community, by and large, like, the reason why we don't respect y'all is because y'all spend the majority of the time trying to compare y'allself to us instead of comparing y'allself to other men. Because y'all will stay saying, well, black women are the poorest. Well, you niggas are the poorest men. So please stop making it seem like y'all are like at the top and we're at the bottom when it comes to men and women. When it's black women compared to everybody else, we're at the bottom. And when it's black men compared to everybody else, you niggas are at the bottom. So please stop comparing yourselves to women when historically, across the board, every man in every race typically out-earns the women of their women counterparts. The white men out-earn the white women. The Asian men out-earn the Asian men. But black men are the only people who think it's a flex to say you out-earn your women. It's not a flex. You're just like everybody else. But when we compare you to everyone else, you are at the bottom. You're the least educated. You make the least money. You're the least in every fucking category, except maybe dick. That's probably the only way that y'all excel most of the time. And that's usually where the majority of y'all leadership starts and ends, is at your damn dick.
So you notice how I was able to listen and not interrupt, and listen to comprehend and not interrupt. So I wish you would do the same thing. So, number one, you could be uneducated and still make more money than somebody else, because every woman in every race is more educated than the man of their race. I'm not done, love. White women are more educated than white men. Asian women are more educated than Asian men, and they still make less money than their men. You don't have to be a degree. All education does right now is mean you're in debt, which is what majority of women of all races are in America, in debt. So it doesn't signify that you're successful. It doesn't mean any of that. But if the fact that dick is the only reason why would women sleep with men that are uneducated and aren't worth listening to? Your body is not the same as a man. You're more likely to get an STD, pregnancy. You're more likely to pair bond with the wrong type of man. You guys keep trying to compare yourself to what men do. Oh, well, we do this because the men do it too. You guys aren't men. You guys are not men. So instead of focusing on, oh, you're trying to compare, nobody's comparing themselves to women.
Sir,
I'm still wondering. No, that's not what I said, love. That's not what I said, love.
Love, I'm not done. I said, who's the poorest demographic? I'm almost done, love. What I said in the chat was, who's the poorest demographic in America? It's nothing. That's not a comparison. That was a question. At the end of the day, if that's the case, I 100% agree with you, Danielle. Love, I heard you, and I didn't interrupt you. I 100% agree with you. There are men who should not have access to women who are not worth listening to. But then again, I always say you are what you attract. If a man is a bum-ass nigga and you sleeping with him, what does that make the woman who's sleeping with him? That doesn't make any sense. Why would you sleep with a man that isn't worth listening to, that doesn't have a plan, and who doesn't look like he can be in charge? Why would you give your body, your precious body that you fought rights for the right to choose what to do with it, and you choose wrong? Let me tell you what my Uncle Ben told me. My Uncle Ben was shot by a robber, and I was holding him, and he looked at me and he said, Paul, with great power comes great responsibility. You have all this responsibility that women in other countries don't have, and you misuse it and then turn around and blame the men. That don't make no sense. If you guys pick better, you want to know why my mom doesn't complain about men on the app? She did something most of y'all will never do in your life. She actually picked a good man who valued marriage and wanted to be a father. And she was married 32 years. Lo and behold, I've never heard her complain about men. You see how easy that is? If you guys actually practice what you preach and what you want on paper, you could actually get the results that you want.
I've never seen a bunch of men that sit up here and try to blame the women for why y'all are fucking shit. The reality is if I'm walking through a pool that's full of shit and I'm looking for a gold coin, chances are I'm gonna wade through a bunch of shit and never find the gold coin.
In a pool full of shit.
You're in a pool full of shit, which is a dating market because you niggas are shit. Okay? So, you're the shit that I'm referring to. And the reality is this, right? The dating market is shit. And I'm not even going to just say it's on women's side. It's on both sides, okay? I think that a lot of the quote-unquote good men pick these quote-unquote bad women that they talk about, just like the good quote-unquote women pick the bad men that they quote-unquote talk about. Like, the reality is clearly everybody's picker is off because the quote-unquote good niggas in this country, right? Y'all still don't have women. Like, y'all, so to sit there and act as though, like, all of the good men that just were so great and picked these great women, y'all are still single. By and large, the majority of y'all are single with no children. So y'all still haven't picked anybody. Nobody picked you. You're still single. And nobody wants you for the most part. So, I mean, what do you want to do? Like,
that's a good thing we don't have kids, right? That's a good thing.
But you don't have women either. That was my point.
I was gonna say, I don't get why we gotta solve all problems at the same time. Being single with no kids is a great thing, right? That means there's no children out of wedlock. Right, I don't know why Black people are forced to solve all the community problems at one time. I'm proud that a lot of Black men and Black women are not having children out of wedlock. It's not a negative thing. Two, the reason there's nobody in charge is because those single, not having kids out of wedlock can't find a partner. But I don't get like the walking through shit. We change famous tropes to match our energy when they're famous tropes for a reason. It's called a diamond in the rough. Diamonds are in dirt. Right, you're going to have to date around, figure out dirt. It's called life experience, and then you're going to find a diamond. Right, I found my diamond, but one thing I don't do that a lot of married people do is I don't act like it was easy to find my wife. I don't get why to women or men it's easy to find somebody. It's never supposed to be. That's why you cherish the fuck out of the person that you do find, because you know how hard it was to find somebody genuine. Right, so if we stop revising famous tropes and we start using the ones that our wise grandfathers and grandfathers, whether they were successful at it or not, they were wise, right? And I always say, just to land, there's a lot of people who can study business but don't have the opportunity to participate in making one. There's a lot of advice from my grandfathers and grandmothers, even though they didn't practice it right, they still learned the lesson and acknowledged that they did not practice it right. So I don't get. I'll just say that, and then I guess I'll just hear what y'all think of that.
So I agree with you, Trigger, right? And you made a good point, right? It's difficult to find. So I don't know why. I mean, I understand life is life, right? And I would agree with you that having kids with somebody that you ain't married to ain't smart or beneficial. as we see in the long term, right? So what I'm gonna say is this: I don't know why it's being what you said, right? I don't know why it's such a thing for people to say, well, you haven't found anybody, and to try to crucify people for not having what people know is difficult to find. So that's probably my biggest break with it. The number one, because the number one thing that men like to say is, oh, well, you're not married. And it's like, as a woman, okay, like, it's okay. Like, that's the number one thing that people say to try to make us, quote unquote, feel bad, is that you don't have a husband. Like, whatever. Like,
but that's exactly what you did 2 minutes ago. You just criticized the men and saying, well, you're not married. And
right,
nobody wants you.
because y'all try to flex on us and say, we're not married, but neither are y'all.
Nobody in this room did that to you, but you did that to the men. That's the ironic thing about your statement. At the end of the day, if there's shit, let's just say, like I said, love, I got you. I agree with you. There's shit in the dating pool. You could be celibate. Why is it that that's never a solution? I agree with a lot of what the women say when they complain about the men. Wouldn't the answer be to be celibate until you find your person? Nobody will ever answer this question without coming up with an excuse. Why are women sleeping with men that they won't be obedient to, that they feel like are in charge? Because again, the bottom barrel men in the community, who I agree with the women, are bad. They're toxic. They're bad for the community. They make the community look bad. They're the loud minority that makes us look bad to every other race and group. They don't lack women. So you got to pick a side. If the dating pool is bad, then you should just be celibate until you find your person, instead of just sleeping with people and saying, well, I don't believe he has a plan. I don't believe he's this. He ain't shit. He ain't that. But he still had access to the most important part of you, your womb. Because children come from that. That's your superpower. That's something that a man will never be able to do. The ability to produce children. So if the worst of the men are still being able to procreate with women, then we can't really say we're struggling to find out who's in charge. You did the ultimate form of submission that any woman could do to a man. You gave your body to him. So once you give your body to a man, you should already determine before you give your body to a man, is this man worth listening to? Is this man worth following? Does this man have a plan for me and our future children? If the answer is no, you shouldn't even be sleeping with him. But then every time I bring that up, it's always a back and forth. It's always well, nobody wants you, da-da-da-da-da. I'm speaking on behalf of the conservative men that you guys say you want on paper, but you don't really want, because you want men to be liberal, but then you don't like liberal men because liberal men sleep around, and then liberal men are 50-50. This is the back and forth that you guys will always struggle with for the next 30, 40 years of your life, trying to figure out which type of man to follow. So you got to pick a side.
So, Paul, here's the reality. And most women know this. The good guys and the bad guys, all of them want to sleep with you, and the majority of men will not agree to be in a relationship with you if you're not sleeping with them. I don't care if they're good, bad, or whatever. The vast majority of men will not seriously date you if you're not sleeping with them. I don't care what you say. You can say that shit, it sounds good, but in application, that's not the reality. Okay? So when you say that, it does sound good, Paul, but in application, most women know if you're not having sex with men, they're not going to be with you. I don't care if it's a good man, a bad man, a man that has intention, a man that doesn't. The majority of them will not wait until marriage, bro. That's the reality.
Hey, Danielle. If I can, real quick.
Go ahead, bro. You go right after. You're going to go right after him provoking.
Okay. Well, you can go ahead and rock out, Joe.
So, if that's the case, if celibacy was to be put in play, and the right man did hold out for that, wouldn't that be something worth holding on to at that point then?
Sure.
Well,
but unfortunately, women across the board are not going to go by and large. That's why we know men across the board are not going to be good, right? It's always going to be women that's going to toe the line of hold them, right? And as long as those women do that, it makes it almost impossible as a regular ass woman is trying to quote unquote hold out, because you know there's so many women that ain't. So, and men know that too. So that's part of the problem, Joe.
I mean, it makes perfect sense. So it just shows like on both sides. I can honestly say, and this is to Trigger's point about the diamond and the dirt thing. I think us, when it comes to dating and being in relationships, overall, we become extremely lazy. You know, we've gotten away from a lot of the stuff that worked for us for one reason or another. Some of it is arbitrary, and some of it is valid. But at the same time, it has destroyed us from the inside out. And, you know, we need to just get back to that shit.
So what you done, Joe?
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
I appreciate it, Kane. So, ladies, that's and then yeah, it's kind of almost again gaslighting. I'm not accusing you of this. Because I hear that same rhetoric from a lot of other women that men aren't gonna sleep with. They're not gonna be with you if you don't sleep with them. Let me tell you what men value. Men value women who will make them wait and rather not sleep with them, put their foot down and say, I'm not gonna sit up there and have sex with you. I will wait till we are married. We will respect that because we know one thing, that you're gonna sit up there and make me wait. You're most likely not hoeing around. You're most likely not opening your legs to the next thing that smile at you and tell you to, everything is all good and sweet shit that you want to hear. We know that you literally took back your morals. That's what we value. So when we sit up there and say things like, hey, men is not going to stay with us unless we sleep with them, that's a lie. I know a lot of men would sit up there and be like, man, she made me wait. She ain't out here giving it up. That's the first thing gonna hit that man's mind. And if she's dead ass serious, we gonna wait. A woman told me one time, she said, I ain't finding a man yet. I said, y'all give up the pussy too quick. It's that simple. You give it up too quick. But you expect a man to sit up there and marry you after you sleep with him. No, statistics shows that he loses his interest after you done gave it up to him. And most likely he gonna dodge your ass.
So that
doesn't make sense to me because you'll have men who, it's the phrase like, why, I would never buy a car with flex drive or something like that, right? So how is that truth? Like now she loses value because she gives it up, but you tell her if she really loves you, she would. So I don't know. I think it all depends on the type of man it is. Some men don't mind if you fuck before marriage or fuck before or whatever, but I don't know. And then it's the same thing like with women withhold themselves. It's like, okay, you hit it or whatever, so I'm gonna just go get it from somebody else until you're ready. So it's just like, what are women supposed to do? Right? If she withhold it, you gonna still get it from somewhere else, and if she gives it up, you gonna deem her value as less than. So I don't.
And not only that, but if I'm being honest, a lot of men don't want to hear that I'm trying to be celibate shit if she already got a kid. They don't be wanting to hear that shit. So I hear you. It sounds nice, but a lot of y'all be saying like, you made me wait, but you ain't made that nigga wait.
Exactly. I get that. Let me respond back to this once again.
Oh, go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
The thing is this. It's the idea and fact that women have taken back their bodies and say, you know what, I'm sure, because men are so logical. I love being a man. Men are so logical. Men will literally sit up there and allow you to tell him why you decided to take back your sexuality. If you say, I have made stupid decisions in the past, and I've decided that I'm going to withhold myself for the right man, and I'll no longer make those decisions, he's going to be like, damn, she ain't out here whoring. She ain't out here for the streets. This is a logical thing for you to do to to take back your sexuality. I think you're worth waiting on. I think you're worth marrying. That's what we going to do. Because we see the value in you. Now, if a boy who want to sit up there and play and have sex with you right away, fuck it right, he ain't gonna respect all that shit. That shit gonna go one end out the other, and he gonna fuck you and leave you high and dry. It's that simple.
But wait, wouldn't most of men, the latter, what you explained, is the majority of men. We gotta stop lying to ourselves. I get what a standard should be, and I get. Yeah, it's not me either. I'm in the boat with you, but I'm able to take myself out of the equation in the small group of men I'm in community with and stop dog whistling to women as if that's the populace of men. We got to be truthful about how most men are moving. And it's a bunch of cap, what the kids say. It's a bunch of cap for men to try to now sit on the stage and say that most men value a woman that way sexually. Like, we know that ain't the populace of men. And if that's not our position and that's not how we see the men in our communities, that's fine and that's fair. But let's not gaslight women, and let's not lie to ourselves when we know what the truth is on how most men move. Like, really. And then my last point here is, I don't understand why you have to come up and say that's you. I just said it's not me.
That is.
But I can understand how to eat. Okay, you know me. I'm gonna keep my point. I'm gonna keep finishing my point.
Reclaim your time.
Because we're committed to not listening. Somebody who doesn't know me gonna tell me who I am, and I'm trying to make a point about how the consensus of how most men move. But at the end of the day, I just wanted to refute another point that I heard, is that men are logical. We gotta stop lying to ourselves on that one too. We're not logical. I don't know why we keep having to lie to ourselves. We don't move with logic. In populace, as a group, logic doesn't tell you to go sell drugs. Logic doesn't tell you to don't educate yourself, but we still do it. Logic doesn't tell you that you're gonna have this rap career, but we still do it. Like, what are you talking about, Black? What are you talking? I don't understand. I don't understand.
This shit sad. You advocating for
no.
And then you project this shit on other men. Just because you're weak-minded.
Yeah, no, you're weak because you can't stay on
other women and pander to these women and lie to these women.
You're weak.
Hey, fellas.
You're weak.
I want to hear y'all have the debate, but let's do it one at a time now.
Exactly. And control our emotions. That's a sign of weakness. Men having the inability to control themselves despite things that they disagree with, despite opposition, like that's one of the key pillars of manhood. We face this every day. But at the end of the day, a lot of black men aren't logical. I think we want to lie to ourselves by saying we're logical. And those are the 2 points of refutation that I want to call out. And you can see it by our behaviors. And we can get to the solutions if we stop lying to ourselves. So let's start with the truth, and then we can build the community.
I got some truth for you, right? Again, with popular tropes that have great wisdom. Pressure makes diamonds, right? I wasn't shit before. Right, I wasn't shit before my wife. I was a bartender in Miami, having fun, being an ain't shit nigga. It was natural to me. Nobody corrected me. I didn't listen. Maybe people tried. Pressure. A lot of reasons I feel like we don't have a problem being married, black people. We have a problem staying in marriage. Right, we get married at the same rate as everybody else. We just leave it quicker. Right, pressure makes diamonds. Right, so for men and women, that pressure is different. There is some truth to telling a man, hey, I have a kid, but I fucked up, and I'm not going to do that again. That man might leave you, and you might really like him. Or that man might feel the pressure of being the man that you're looking forward to and become a better person. Same thing for the men, right? A woman might tell you, oh, I need a man to provide. I need a man to do this. I need a man to do that. Pressure makes diamonds. Right, I am not the man you hear speaking today without the pressure of my wife, and my wife is not the woman that the world hears without the pressure of me. And together we became diamonds because we wasn't bullshit. Right, this whole 50-50 shit, it's called budgeting in real life, people. We've been on this app long enough for people to start using real life terms now. It's called the budget. Right, I was a basic nigga. My wife was a basic woman. Right, we then came together and said, hey, do you enjoy being basic? No. Well, do I enjoy being basic? No. Well, can we come together and do some non-basic shit? And was it easy? No. I'm not. That's the one part that I'm going to emphasize. It's not easy. But that's the whole point of pressure. When you want to work out, right, you put pressure on your muscles and your body to get the body you want. When you want to look good, or for anything, right, you have to add pressure to everything to get what you want. I don't understand why black people are so emotional towards each other, man or woman, about pressure, when that's the whole reason that you become the diamond you wish to be. Well, I'll land here. Even if you don't in a relationship, men, we get pressure from men we look up to become better than them. Your father, right? Be better than me, right? He puts that pressure on you. Be more educated than me. Get more money. Be a better man. Women, right? Women get pressure from their mothers or society. Be a better woman. Be educated. Get more money. Pressure has made you the person that you brag about today. But why when black men and black women come together, all of a sudden pressure is illogical, don't make sense, and I don't want to struggle through that?
Yeah, Trigger, thank you for that. I wanted to draw one thing though. You know, when you meet someone or when a woman meets a man, do you think that there's a point, like a period of time, that the woman does not have to disclose something so that you can get to know her? Not a long period of time, or vice versa for the man?
Can you repeat that question? I'm sorry.
Well, so what I'm trying to say is, like, do you think it's valid or good for a couple, one of the couple, to wait a little bit before disclosing some of the more negative aspects of their life or relationship so that they can get to know, like a seesaw, right? Get to know the positives about the person before disclosing some of the negatives.
It depends on what the negatives are, Daryl.
What's that?
I said it depends on what the negatives are, Daryl.
Yeah, I think men and women got to be honest, though. Like, I think we got to be honest with the opposite sex when dating about our flaws, just so we give people the option of saying, I think I could deal with this, or I don't think I could deal with this. I think it's too much vagueness and then expecting someone to take us as we are when we're not even being honest. So, like, when the conversation comes up, I have no problem with the woman telling me she's celibate, right? That if you honest about why you celibate, then that shouldn't be a problem for most men. I think where it becomes a problem is when there's deceptiveness with it. And I think men should be honest with women with a lot of their political views. A lot of men are more conservative than women. I think it does women a disservice. And we saw it during 2020, 2016. A lot of wives divorced their husbands because they didn't really realize their husbands voted for Trump. Right? So I think you got to be honest with your partner or the person you're dating. So you give them the option of saying, you know what? I think I can handle this. I don't think I can handle this. But it's too much vagueness. And it's too much, let me hide the worst of myself and put the best foot forward. And then people be like, yo, but this is not the you that I saw 2-3 months ago. This is not the you that I knew 6 months ago, because you wasn't honest and upfront.
I agree, Paul, 100%.
I appreciate your wisdom. That is logic. Go ahead, Sister Dane.
No, I was just going to say, I agree with Paul, for real. Like, tell me the bad shit up front so I can decide whether or not to fuck with you before I waste my time. I mean, and that's just keeping it to me. I'd rather do it like that. But like you said, a lot of people don't do that, right? They don't tell you. And that's across the board, right? I don't even think you even know who people really are in the first 3 months because they're not comfortable, so they gonna lie. Or they gonna try to hide the parts of them that are unfavorable. You know what I'm saying? So I really think it's something, transparency across the board needs to be a thing, right?
Danielle, can I ask you a question, Danielle?
It's kind of fool's gold, though.
Can I ask her a question real quick?
Sure, no problem.
Sure can.
Just in general, Danielle, just in general, not too much detail. What is the biggest learning lesson, and you can make it quick because I just want to get to a point, but what's the quickest red flag you've learned about men? Just one of them, just one.
One of the quickest red flags I learned about men is how they speak about their prior relationships. That's a red flag for me, depending on how they speak about the past.
Okay, so let me ask you this. That being your red flag, do you make that one of the first topics you have with a man you're interested in?
It is
to make
for
sure
me.
that,
Yeah. I always ask them about their prior relationships and like what they learned and what they could have done better in that relationship, no matter how it ended. Because people who won't say what they did wrong in a relationship, those are usually people that you want to stay away from because they don't see no fault in nothing that they did.
Right. So good. I just want to land here. Good job. Right. A lot of people don't do that though. You know how many? I got more female friends than male friends, but even my male friends too. They have these red flags that they know exist and that they personally have a problem with because your red flags ain't somebody else's. And every time I ask them, how does you keep coming up with these red flags? Man, it's too quick. I just met her. I don't want to get to this point. Wait, do you want to be married at the age you want to be married at, or do you want to play around with it? Because if you want to get married in the next 5 years, you shouldn't give a fuck what somebody feel about that line of question. Oh, it's too early. It's too early means not for you in my language,
Right, I learned that very quickly. Hey, shorty, you know what I'm saying? Hey, man, what's your credit score? Because I had an ex who kind of fucked my credit up. Oh, no, that's too early. So you willing to have a conversation about sucking my dick, but I can't know you. You know what, sis? I'm still a gentleman. I'm going to pay for the meal. Enjoy yourself. I'll walk off. You can yell and all that shit. It's much quieter when my car door closed and I'm driving off. I can't even hear you yelling no more, but I've already made a mental decision. I'm not playing around no more. And a lot of people want serious things to come from their life, but they play around and act like it's not serious. But shout out to you, though. I just wanted to put that point across. If you're not answering your red flags first, then do you really care about your red flags the way people complain?
Oh no, I'm glad I with some submissions before I said what I was going to say. I think we're in an over-exhaustive state of people sharing too much information out. They coming to the table, especially black men, trauma dumping, and got all these questions and got all this yibbity yap, but no real actions, no real intent. Everybody's a therapist, a psychoanalyst. Everybody's got mental health, and I got to communicate my trauma. I got to run my 10-step plan. Niggas don't even have no communication skills. They coming to the table with that level of aggression. I think a lot of black men should just take some sales classes. This shit is not a job interview. Y'all going on a date. Oh, what's my red flag? I got to ask you a question about your red flag. Yo, how can I be a gentleman? How can I be an act of service? Like, yo, yeah, is the things that are important, do they need to come out and there's proper timing with it? But I think we just in a place where men are just so emotionally fragile. And we're in the conversations now where everything is about me, and we're not in the service business. That's what this relationship thing is supposed to be about anyway. It's about service. Service to our women, service to our family, service to our children, service to our community. That's what a relationship is built on. So I don't know. It seems like more of this is just entitlement. Women got to show up a certain way, and women got to love us a certain way. And I think black men, we're going to have to go back to the table of not only how we see manhood, but also how we see leadership.
Question, bro. Are you in hospitality at all, Sid? Have you ever worked in hospitality?
Yeah, absolutely.
So everything you just said about service was wrong. The first thing you do when you go to a table is figure out exactly who the person you is serving, so you can best make that table happy. And you go to another table, you do the same thing. You don't ask the same table the same questions, right? So in a service, if you understand that, hey, I'm good at these things and not good at those things, you have to then tailor your whole service around what you're good at by putting yourself first, and then asking qualifying questions to make sure you serve that specific table correctly. So how can you have worked in hospitality and talk about service and your whole rhetoric goes against service?
No, thank you for proving my point. I think we're in agreement. You exactly proved my point. The whole point is about service. It's not about me. It's about service.
That wasn't my question, brother. That wasn't my question, though.
Thank you for highlighting my point, and I'm glad to see that we're in agreement, because that was exactly my point about service.
You didn't answer my question.
It's not about me. It's not about me as a server. It's not about the people that are sitting at the table having to identify with me. It's not about what are my red flags and what are my skill sets. I'm here to serve. So absolutely, hospitality was a great example. Absolutely. Thank you for helping and supporting me in my cause and in my talking point.
Are you the man that you're projecting? You just disagree with everything I said. I'm trying to understand. Disagree with everything I said.
How can men be better communicators if they're not being honest with women? Like, that's okay. Oh yeah, I can kiss your ass, I can serve you, but then if I'm not being honest about myself, then I'm doing a disservice to that woman in the future. I'm just leading her on without being honest. Oh, take the 6 months you need to find out about myself. Why not just be honest from the jump? It's one thing, I agree with you. Men should be better communicators. But what does that entail? Does that not also entail being honest? What is your definition of honesty?
Sir, let him finish, please. Thank you.
Does that not include being honest with women? If a woman asks, are you dating other people? Do you have a kid that you don't know about? Like, I think being a better communicator will also mean being honest with yourself. Because how can you find the right woman? I'm speaking on men. How can you find the right woman if you just want to just serve, but you're not honest with her about yourself? That doesn't make any sense to me. I think if you want to be a better communicator, that also involves being honest to women about where you are in life, where you see yourself, where you are currently in terms of who you dating, who you seeing, who you sleeping with. Because if a woman asks me all those questions, I have no problem being honest, because at the end of the day, that means that she has the option to decide, hey, I might stick it out with this guy, or this guy's not serious. Because if we're listening to what women are saying, they're saying that men are not being honest with who they're sleeping with. Men are not being honest about the kids they got. Men are not being honest about where they are financially. So you can't promote being better communicators when men are not even being honest. I think you do have to be honest. It's not just serving the woman. You have to be honest about where you are. So you give women the choice. We are in America, after all. We give women the choice to decide, I want to be with you or not.
But that's what I was saying, Paul. If a woman, Danielle, has had a man lie about having his kids, her first question should be, do you have kids? And if he says no, which men lie, women lie, you know what I'm saying, everybody lies, then if it's really something you dealt with, you're going to be indirectly double checking on these things.
Hypervigilant.
If I tell you, oh yeah, nah, you the only girl I'm dating, I only date one girl at a time. If you believe me at face value, you have no life experience. Because there's nobody who has life experience and are successful at this game we call life who doesn't go back and double check their work.
Trust but verify. Trust but verify.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, bro, I've been on this bitch for a minute, bro. All this clubhouse rhetoric from shit you don't get, every man on here gets pussy. I know y'all lying. And I know niggas in here who know me in here know that we lying, because we done talked to y'all niggas for 3 years. We know you struggling out here. Tell the truth on the internet, and maybe a woman can help you, or maybe another man can help you. But stop acting like you just out here, Mr. Player, and you got it all under control. When the moment you hit leave quietly and log off this app, you go into a state of confusion. I don't know no man who's ever succeeded in life faking like they're not confused. You're going to lose out on mentors. You're going to lose out on women. You're going to lose out on good friends, all that. Because eventually, if you talk long enough, we'll hear the truth. Am I wrong?
Well,
no, that's real.
There's some dimensions here, though. I mean, we all know that in our community, we've been told to be strong, right? To be perfect, to carry the weight of the world. But often in our relationships, that's the kind of pressure that, it's a heavy burden. So I'm thinking, vulnerability and weakness is actually strength. So one of the things we've been talking about is building trust. We've all been hurt. We all had our trust broken. But do we know how precious that is? Sharing these parts of ourselves, sometimes parts that we're not so proud of, that's how we build that genuine connection. But, and this is the key, it's a process. We don't need to dump our whole life story on the first day. We can ease into it, right? Then there's that vulnerability. For us as Black folks, especially showing vulnerability, it feels like we're exposing ourselves. But think about it. If you can't be real with your partner, who can you be real with? It's about finding that safe space, that person who sees you, all your flaws and all, and still loves you over that. Now, timing is everything. You ain't got to spill everything. I don't feel like you're going to need to spill all your secrets on day one. But if it's something that's going to affect the relationship, be upfront. And if you got past trauma, if you're dealing with mental health issues, those conversations got to happen. But find the right time, the right place, and most importantly, make sure you feel safe about it. Now, let's be real. Self-esteem plays a huge role. If you're constantly down on yourself, it's going to be harder to share those negative feelings. But I always try to remember I'm worthy of love, flaws and all, and a good partner will see that. Now, finally, distinguishing between that's healthy and unhealthy disclosures. Healthy is being honest, but unhealthy is using your vulnerability to manipulate or constantly complain. We don't need that. We need to build each other up. The reciprocity of it all is as crucial that there's a one-way street, that we're both on it. You're sharing, your partner should be on that too. And if we're creating a safe space, we're both going to feel comfortable about ourselves. I land.
Oh no, dog.
I'm a great submission.
Yeah, go ahead, Seth. My bad.
No, I just want to tell him that was a good submission.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, dog. I'm 100 to a fault, dog. I don't like men who lie because I'm not somebody who contradicts myself. When you hear men go, oh, there's all these women in the world. There's all these women. Well, nigga, I act like it. So what? I meet Danielle right now, and I think she attractive. We go on a date, and I find out it's something I don't like. Well, if I keep saying to all men, there's so many women in the world, why I got to deal with you? Why?
She in the Matrix?
Trigger, you in the Matrix. You're in the Matrix, buddy.